Okay, I'm doing my reputation against Trenton, and his main claim is that peer-to-peer sharing is beneficial to the music industry. His first claim is that peer-to-peer sharing did not negatively impact the record industry in the past. His second claim is that peer-to-peer sharing currently provides higher revenues for record companies, and his third claim is that peer-to-peer sharing opened 3 new economic streams for the future. Trenton stated from Zyman, who I believe is a musician, that record sales did not decline until after Napster, the biggest peer-to-peer client shut down. And the evidence against him is from the Recording Industry Association of America. They are who rep the recording industry. And they state that in the decade since peer-to-peer file sharing site Napster emerged in 1999, music sales in the U.S. have dropped from 47%, from $14.6 billion to $7.7 billion. Zyman states that the sales were displaced because of 9/11 and attacks in the 2001, not peer-to-peer sharing. He wrote on his website, quoting from Hillary Rawson, who's the president and CEO of the RIA, that the economy was slow and 9/11 interrupted the fourth quarter plans, but a large factor contributing to the decrease in overall shipments last year is online piracy and CD burning. Now, the statement that Trenton got from Zyman's website stated that the sales dropped after Napster was shut down, but in reality that's incorrect because there is a chart posted on the website of Zyman's and the RIAA that clearly shows that music sales started to decrease in 2000's data analysis because of Napster's development. And Trenton stated in his outline that record sales were displaced because of 9/11 attacks in 2001, not peer-to-peer sharing. Because of the quote from Zyman that Zyman wrote, unfortunately, Hillary Rawson's words were taken out of context because she clearly stated that 9/11 was interrupted in the fourth quarter plans, not that it was the reason that they were displaced. Even though 9/11 may have been an interruption, it does not mean that it hit the record sales that much. Now, the secondary claim made by Trenton was that peer-to-peer sharing currently provides higher revenues for the record companies. RIAA states that while music business has increased its digital revenues by 1,000% from 2004 to 2010, digital music theft has been a major factor beyond the overall global market decline of around 31% in the same period. And Trenton also stated in his speech that artists are selling more live performance tickets and merchandise, and that record companies are making more money per release. But he did not provide where he got this from, so I'm assuming it was just his personal opinion. RIAA states that from 2004 to 2009 alone, approximately 30 billion songs were illegally downloaded on file sharing networks. Now, NPD reports that only 37% of music acquired by the U.S. consumers was paid for in the year 2009. Now, with this information, you can see that the recording industry was hit and that the artists may not have been selling more live performances and merchandise, due to the numbers that I have given you. And Trenton's final claim was that peer-to-peer sharing has opened 3 new economic streams for the future. The 3 new economic streams that opened were digital download services, music streaming services, and advertising space on copyrighted content. Now, yes, peer-to-peer sharing has 3 new economic streams, but it has eventually led to piracy. It is stated by the RIAA that music theft is unreal, ongoing, and an evolving challenge. Both the volume of music acquired illegally and the resulting drop in the revenues are staggering. Digital sales, while on the rise, are not making up the difference. Now, according to the Information Technology and Innovation Foundation, the digital theft of music, movies, and copyrighted content take up huge amounts of the internet bandwidth, which is 24% globally and 17.5% in the U.S. Now, having stated this, this is quite clear that the piracy does occur, and that having the 3 new economic streams is helping piracy continue in the future.
All right, all the claims are labeled. It's very easy to follow. I like your analysis on the first point. You've got good evidence that responds in contrast to the evidence that the advocate used based on the decline in sales. You do a nice analysis about how the 9/11 information has been taken out of context and used inappropriately, that would not be a sufficient cause to produce the effects that you're talking about. And I think that you've got a good argument on the timeline with Napster, and so it seems like there's a good link there. Even if Napster's gone out of business, that doesn't change the fact that peer-to-peer sharing is continuing. The info that you use on that point, I think, is reasonably well cited there, although it does come from a source that probably the advocate would say is somewhat biased. The transition to the second point was very easy to follow, and the analysis that these other alternative forms have increased is explained pretty well. When you get to that last point, you say, look, the digital downloads have not been able to compensate for the loss in sales in other places. So even though the digital sales have gone up substantially, when you didn't have any digital sales, the next year would be a substantial increase, and as it continues to grow, it gets to be an increase. But does it ever bring it back to the level that it was before the peer-to-peer sharing? I think you've got a very clear explanation of that. You've got a reasonable press on the information about concerts and other products and where they get their money. The advocate made those claims. You said there wasn't any evidence on that particular point, and then you kind of follow up with information that says, look, there have been 30 billion illegal downloads, and only 37% of the music that's been downloaded in 2009 is actually paid for. That sounds like it definitely talks about the financial ramifications there. The economic streams, I like the discussion that you have suggesting that this actually creates additional piracy. I think that it wasn't as clearly explained as it needed to be, but I understood the claim that you were making. I just didn't understand quite how it fit into that. In other words, how does that occur? There needed to be a little bit more development of that. All right, thank you.